Maybe, Mike, you could start by telling us how this all came to be.
Absolutely. Well, as a pastor, knowing I was going to have a sabbatical 2 or 3 years ago, I applied to the Lilly Foundation for some grant money to do some traveling and was fortunate enough to get it. And John and Ben were on the docket at that point. COVID and then a bad accident to me delayed everything. And now the Camino is not only a spiritual journey for three of us who like to ride bikes, but for me, it's a bit of a redemption journey, trying to reclaim my physical body and the recreation I enjoy with two guys I like doing it with. And so that's why we're doing it. We want to be challenged physically. We want to, cast off any burdens in life, and we want to enjoy each other's fellowship and those of the other pilgrims we meet.
What was it about, thinking back 2+ years ago now, what made you pick the Camino?
I laid on a hospital bed for 6 weeks as I was recovering in the hospital, and then spent a year in physical therapy. And there were kind of two things that kind of just gave me motivation. One is that one of my goals on my sabbatical was to spend 6 weeks on the Appalachian Trail doing a big section of it. That's kind of gotten waylaid, but that gave me motivation. The other was riding with you guys. We all worked as youth pastors and chaplains. We enjoyed a couple long prayer rides, often blessed by a craft beer at the end, and just the idea of fellowship, physical challenge, and spiritual camaraderie just gave me motivation in a hospital bed. That's what I want to go for.
John, what's exciting for you about a trip like this?
It's as much the fellowship of the three of us doing it together as it is the Camino. But it is also, as I've learned more about the Camino, I feel like this might be an overused term, but a liminal space. I'm not sure exactly what that means, because I think every place is sacred in some ways, but there's something about, millions of other feet that have walked or traveled over this path that who've gone through life like we have, who faced their own struggles, that feels like there's something there. So I'm kind of curious about what will turn up, and I've thought about what is the question that I want to take, and I don't know that I have one. I feel like the Camino is going to come to me, like revealing something to me that I'm not sure what it is, and I do have a bit of trepidation about that. Not that I feel like some saint or devil is going to jump out from me at me and ask me a question. What is your quest? What do you want to do? But I just feel like I want to be open to it, I'm really curious about what will turn up around the corner.
I'd echo a lot of that. I did a Holy Land trip. It was a very meaningful trip, but I also experienced some burnout. Like, oh boy, one more cathedral that looks just like the one we saw yesterday. And there's, I think, a possibility that these heavily traveled pilgrimage places wind up losing their luster. So I'm less intrigued by the sort of mysticism of this particular route, but more drawn to what it means for the three of us to take these pedal strokes together. I like what you said, John, to see what comes from it, to see how we're transformed. I've really tried intentionally in a lot of aspects of my life to hold things loosely and to let life come to me instead of that life goes a certain way, the way that I prescript it to go because I'm right. I think trips like these are great ways to let go of some of that control and to let the Spirit transform.
And I've been reading on God's sovereignty lately and reforming my theology around it to allow a greater expression of individuality and choice. And I think the Santiago is going to be a microcosm of that. We look for God's blessing, and yet every day it's a new adventure without a lot of control over the elements, or we set our faces to the west and pedal.
And experience the strangeness of a water fountain next to a wine fountain as refreshment along the way too, right? So there'll be some fun, interesting cultural experiences there too.
Yes. Good discussions with you guys, and then people meet over a glass of wine, good cheese and good bread.
Buen Camino. Yeah.
Buen Camino.